Hi everyone and welcome to Linger Longer with Books. My name's Catherine and in this week's video I'm going to be sharing my 2025 book club picks. First off, I hope you're all doing okay. Welcome to those returning to my channel here. Really do appreciate your support, and obviously a warm welcome to if you are exploring my channel for the first time. So some of you will be aware, I haven't really sort of chatted much about it on here. I run a monthly book club. It's called the Never Ending Story Book Club. The key details are over on the Facebook page under that name, so you can go and have a look there and follow to keep up to date with kind of the latest information and bits that I'm sort of posting on there. But basically it's an online book club. It's held every last Saturday of the month online. It's on Zoom and it's from 4 to 5 p.m. GMT. I've been running it for a year now, and I had been hosting it in person at a local kind of independent cafe near to where I live, and it was quite kind of up and down with numbers in terms of attendees, and just it left me wondering kind of is it sort of day of the week, is it timing? So I'm just going to kind of explore for the next year hosting every book club meeting online each month, just to see if that actually helps people attend, and slightly later in the day if people are out and about doing kind of busy weekend activities. So everyone is welcome. Like I said, please do follow the Never Ending Story Book Club over on Facebook. I do make reference to it here lightly, as well as my Instagram under Linger Longer with Books. But yeah, like I said, the main information is over on Facebook. But without further ado, let's go and take a look at the 12 books for 2025. First off, I hope you're all doing okay. Welcome to those returning to my channel here. Really do appreciate your support, and obviously a warm welcome to if you are exploring my channel for the first time. So some of you will be aware, I haven't really sort of chatted much about it on here. I run a monthly book club. It's called the Never Ending Story Book Club. The key details are over on the Facebook page under that name, so you can go and have a look there and follow to keep up to date with kind of the latest information and bits that I'm sort of posting on there. But basically it's an online book club. It's held every last Saturday of the month online. It's on Zoom and it's from 4 to 5 p.m. GMT. I've been running it for a year now, and I had been hosting it in person at a local kind of independent cafe near to where I live, and it was quite kind of up and down with numbers in terms of attendees, and just it left me wondering kind of is it sort of day of the week, is it timing? So I'm just going to kind of explore for the next year hosting every book club meeting online each month, just to see if that actually helps people attend, and slightly later in the day if people are out and about doing kind of busy weekend activities. So everyone is welcome. Like I said, please do follow the Never Ending Story Book Club over on Facebook. I do make reference to it here lightly, as well as my Instagram under Linger Longer with Books. But yeah, like I said, the main information is over on Facebook. But without further ado, let's go and take a look at the 12 books for 2025. Because I am somewhat of a bookish geek and I do love lists, I always have since I was very, very young. It's no surprise that I have made up, sorry for the shine, a list of the 12 titles. Some of you will appreciate that, so I'm showing you that. I do have most of these titles in a physical kind of form, whether it's paperback or hardback. So I will just go through one by one now. So January, we have The Only One Left by Riley Sager. This is hailed as a heart-pounding gothic thriller from the master of suspense. Just thought that this would be a really kind of fun, intriguing, yeah, just a fun read for the start of the year, basically. It says, when everyone believes that Lenora Hope is a mass murderer. When the Hope family was massacred decades ago, she was the only one left alive after that tragic night. Mute, paralysed and confined to a wheelchair, Lenora has never been able to tell her side of the story until her new live-in caregiver Kit brings her a typewriter, and with one working finger, Lenora begins to type, "I want to tell you everything." So we're talking about this on Saturday the 25th of Jan, like I said, 4 to 5 p.m. GMT on Zoom. I have read this one, so I'm not going to say much about it. Some really, really enjoyable twists and turns. Nothing is quite as it seems. No one is quite what they appear to be or who they appear to be. I won't say any more, otherwise I'm scared I'm going to give some stuff away. But I really hope, pardon me, the people who are planning to come to the January book club meet are reading this one and enjoying it too. So let's take a look at my list so I don't get any of these out of order yet. February is The Book Thief by Marcus Zuzak. I'm really sorry if I'm butchering that pronunciation. This is a copy, first off, that I must have got in a charity shop from Oxfam, £2.49 bargain. It's in really good condition. I feel like this is one of the, oh, it's anniversary edition with new content. When was this? Let's have a look when this came out. It looks like 2012, but it looks like the originally it was first published by Picador in 2005. I've heard many things about The Book Thief over the years, and my sister Rachel, for one, absolutely raved about this book at the time. So it's kind of always been on my bookish radar, and one that I've wanted to get to, and one that I feel that is kind of going to be on those 100 books you must read list somewhere out there. If it is, and you're aware of it, please let me know in the comments below. But it just says, this is the tale of the book thief as narrated by Death. And when Death tells a story, you really have to listen. It's just a small story, really, about, amongst other things, a girl and an accordionist. Wow, that's not the most common words that I say. Oh, the sticker is stuck over it. It says some fanatical something. Oh no, a Jewish fist fighter and quite a lot of thievery. So yeah, a little bit of a longer one for February. But yeah, it was a #1 international bestseller. It's loved and revered the world over. So anyway, that is February. Yeah, if that appeals to you, please do follow my Facebook page so you can join in the chat about that one. March is The Marriage Act by John Mars. Again, have to go to my sister for this one. I think she was really, we were at Capital Crime, basically last year, and we were chatting in the, whilst we were sat in the audience in between talks. And I believe that John was in the audience, and Rachel noticed him and was sort of saying, oh, he writes fantastically and really, really kind of clever and enjoyable books. So I picked this one. I bought this copy, I remember, from my most local independent bookshop called October Books in Portswood in Southampton. So if you're in the area, I do recommend you visiting. But what is this one about? It says, first off, it says, break your vows, pay the price on the front cover. I don't know if you can see that in the gold. It says, from the best-selling author of The One, now a Netflix series. So it says on the back, what if marriage was the law? Dare you disobey? Britain, the near future, a right-wing government believes it has the answer to society's ills, the Sanctity of Marriage Act, which actively encourages marriage as the norm, punishing those who choose to remain single. But 4 couples are about to discover just how impossible relationships can be when the government is supervising every aspect of our personal lives, monitoring every word, every minor disagreement, and will use all the tools in its arsenal to ensure its citizens will love, honour and obey. Oh, that sounds really, really interesting and kind of a little bit dystopian. And yeah, there's some strands going straight through that, isn't there, about government, about conformity, about not conforming, about, I guess, punishment and penalties if you don't. Oh, I think that's going to be a real conversation starter. It's got some brilliant praise on the back from like Ellery Lloyd, Harriet Tice, Liz Nugent and Sarah Pearce. CJ Tudor and TM Logan are also quoted on the front. So yeah, that's our March pick. So for April, I don't actually own a physical copy yet, or haven't sort of got it from a local library yet, but I just thought that I would share with you a little bit of blurb about what it is. Don't know if you can see that massively well. It is Meet Me at Rainbow Corner by Celia Imrie, and I picked this one because I went to the Isle of Wight Festival last October in 2024, and Celia was one of the speakers on the programme there, and she was talking about this book, and it just really kind of caught my attention. And my mum was sat alongside me and said, oh, you must have that for your book club next year. So in honour of that promise, it is appearing, and it is the April read. So yeah, what's it all about? It says London 1944, the air raid sirens are blaring, the bombers are hovering. England has been at war with Germany for 4 years and there's no sign of peace coming. Dot Gallagher, newly arrived from Liverpool to offer her services as a nurse, hurries from her Red Cross hostel to the tube station to join the crowds of people taking shelter. And it just goes on. Obviously, it follows what is going on with Dot right in the heart of London and Piccadilly. There's US troops, as you would imagine, and she becomes firm friends with a lady, it sounds like, called Lily. So it says, it follows the lives of Dot, Lily and their friends as they dance the nights away, fall in and out of love and navigate the horrors of war. So yeah, there you go. That is Meet Me at Rainbow Corner by Celia Imrie. That is our April pick. Obviously not an easy kind of topic, but I think from that synopsis there is that sort of that light and that dark balance in terms of plot and character development there. So yeah, if that one appeals to you, please get your mitts on a copy however you read, whether that's paperback, hardback, audiobook, obviously library copies, secondhand copies, all sorts. But yeah, I think that's going to be a good one to chat about as well. So we are up to May now, and May's pick is Cecily by Annie Garthwaite. It's got some gloss on the front. You'll be able to see that. It's kind of got some really nice, I'm not very good with explaining, but it's kind of puffed out slightly, the wording. And some of this is in gloss against the matte design. But anyway, this is obviously sticking. Sorry, my throat is going. I don't know why. It's saying I haven't had enough coffee yet. This is keeping with the historical kind of theme. Obviously, Meet Me at Rainbow Corner was set in World War II London. This is going way, way back, many centuries, approximately 500, to 1431. 1431 is a dangerous time for a woman to be defiant. England has been fighting France for 100 years. At home, power-hungry men within a corrupt government theme again, manipulate a weak king and name Cecily's husband, York's loyal duke, an enemy. As the king's grasp on sanity weakens, plots to destroy York take root. It would take all of Cecily's courage and cunning to save her family. But when the will to survive becomes ambition for the crown, will she risk treason to secure it? This is war as women fight it. So that very much is a really sort of close lens look at women in terms of, it says here, the role of wife, mother, politician, traitor, fighter, survivor. So I hope that appeals to some of you out there to join in that book club. I really, really do like historical fiction, which will become probably more and more evident as we chat through. But that is Cecily by Annie Garthwaite. So for June, I am skipping over to the non-fiction world with a memoir by Grace Dent called Hungry. I am aware that Grace has written more than this memoir, but this I think is the first one. This looks like a library copy because it is. I bought this from one of my local libraries not that long ago, last year at some point I recall, for probably a very, very good price. But anyway, I have heard about this book for a little while. I think it was Simon Savage of Savage Reads he read it at one point and was saying how interesting it was. And this is, some of you will be aware, of Grace on the TV as a columnist. I think she's just become the new co-host of the UK popular cookery, culinary kind of series called MasterChef. But this is all about, from an early age, Grace was hungry as a little girl from growing up in Curragh, Carlisle. Wow, that's a bit of a tongue twister. She yearned to be something bigger, to go somewhere better. Hungry traces Grace's story from growing up eating beige food to becoming one of Britain's best-loved food writers. It's also everyone's story, from cheese and pineapple hedgehogs and treats with your nan to the exquisite joy of a chip butty covered in vinegar and too much salt in the school canteen on a grey day. But it's also the Cadbury's fruit and nut from a hospital vending machine that helps a loved one remember who really cares. Here's the real story of how we have lived, laughed and eaten over the past 40 years and the central role food plays in either bringing us together or driving us apart. From toasting a large glass of warm Merlot to grimly polishing off a wilted salad. Heartfelt, witty and joyous, Hungry shows us what we've always known to be true. Food, friends and family are the indispensable ingredients of a life well lived. So I think there's something obviously much better explained there than I could ever explain it. But I think there's something in all of us where we remember food, as that says, in terms of like happy times. Food is that sort of coming together, conviviality, and that sort of special kind of precious time with loved ones, and just how perhaps people's food habits and kind of palates have kind of evolved from being a very young child where you can't choose what you're kind of cooking or eating right the way through to adulthood. So that sounds like it's going to be really, really kind of insightful. I think Grace is slightly older than myself personally, but I think this will resonate. I'm sure that there will be food stuffs in there that will ring sort of my memory bank and kind of bring some thoughts and feelings forward. So I hope that does the same for those also attending that book club. So that is, where are we? That is the June book club pick. Now for July, I have kept on the food memoir theme, and it is Omelette by Jessie Ware. Jessie Ware, many of you will be aware, sorry, no pun intended with that word choice. She is a fantastic, talented singer, songwriter, and I just spotted that she has written Omelette. I've seen it in shops sort of through the last couple of years. I'm not actually sure when it was published. Let's have a look. 2021. So in COVID pandemic times, if we actually want to say those horrible words out loud. Let me sort of read what's on the back for you. It says, my mother's omelettes are slightly overdone, but always generous in cheese and well seasoned. My omelettes are just the same, though more often slightly underdone and less carefully considered. And like my stories, they come in many forms. You might get one late at night after a little too much wine and alongside a little too much information. I might spend a long time on one that's just a touch extravagant, and many are for the people I care about most, thrown together and with more cheese than is strictly necessary. Collected here are things I've done, things I've seen, things I've thought, and most importantly, things I've tasted. They're slices of parts of my life. Call them omelettes if you like. I hope you enjoy them. So I think it's obviously very different to the June June pick, but I think there'll be sort of really good chance for us to chat about sort of comparisons and things that contrast about them. I think Jessie is a similar age to Grace in terms of kind of points in their lives. This is a very, very short book. The font is quite small, but hopefully it is a fairly quick read, and another reason why I picked it for July, knowing that it's holiday time for a lot of people, and I wanted to vary the length of the book club picks as well as genres. So there you go. That is Omelette by Jessie Ware. That sounds like it's going to be really, really kind of open and honest and really kind of heartfelt. There's chapters, I'm just flicking through: toast, eating in, white bread, shellfish, how to shuck an oyster. I picked this copy up for £1.49, I can tell, from a charity shop, and it's actually come with a little bookmark from another bookshop, so that's obviously got its own story to tell. But yeah, please, if this appeals to you, get hold of a copy. I haven't seen it in many places other than sort of brand new in bookshops. So when I picked up this copy, when I saw this, I sort of snatched it up off the bookshelf straight away. So yeah, there you go. That is Omelette by Jessie Ware, and that's for July. We are now on to August, and August is going to be Ramses, the Son of the Light by Christian Jacques. This is the first book in a sort of an ancient Egyptian series, as the pitch at the front cover might reveal, and Ramses being sort of the main character about that. And I was thrilled to find this in an Oxfam bookshop for £1.99. It is in immaculate condition. I think it is it's like a trade paperback size for one thing. It's got slightly bigger font writing, which, as I'm getting near to 40, I do appreciate, although I do wear glasses and contact lenses. Do appreciate slightly bigger font than slightly smaller font, let's say. And this is the first in a series. So what's it all about? It says, whenever the grandeur of ancient Egypt is evoked, there is one name which comes immediately to mind: Ramses II, the pharaoh who reigned for more than 60 years. Here he is still only 14 years old. His father Sethi is worshipped by his people and has made his empire the most powerful in the world. But who will be his successor? Should it be his oldest son Chenar, a calculating schemer, or Ramses, still passionate and impetuous? Unbeknownst to Ramses, Sethi sets about teaching him his supreme duty. The tests and traps, sometimes potentially deadly, begin to multiply. And meanwhile, will Ramses escape the machinations of his brother? Will he know how to choose between Iset the Beautiful and mysterious Nefertari? He has only a few friends he can really trust: Moses, his Hebrew school friend, who shares his spirited temperament, Satio, the snake charmer, and Amini, the scribe. Will their loyalty be enough to guide him? So yeah, first in a series of 5 novels chronicling, these are some big old words here, the life of Ramses II. Utterly convincing portrait of a great leader in the making. And it says Christian Jacques, France's leading Egyptologist, brilliantly captures the hauntingly romantic atmosphere of this ancient civilization and its people. So I thought this is just going to be a really refreshing kind of read that probably none of us have ever kind of dipped into. I could be wrong. And selfishly, I grew up with my dad and my stepmom reading, loving, collecting this series. So I'm kind of on a bit of a quest to own the whole series myself, ideally in these trade paperback sizes, although I have, where are they? Here. There's 2 here that I found. They are much smaller, but in brilliant condition from secondhand sales and shops. So ultimately I will try and switch out the smaller ones for the bigger ones if I can ever find them, but they are extremely hard to find in charity shops and online because they were published a fair while ago now. But I will try and get this back in here. Of course, it's not going to go back in easily, is it? No, there we go. So anyway, that is August. I hope that kind of tempts a few of you out there, obviously going way back into ancient Egypt times. But yeah, there you go. That is Ramses, the Son of the Light by Christian Jacques. So we're on to September now, and I have picked Scoops by Sam McAllister. This is non-fiction, so we're sort of jumping around fiction and non-fiction just to keep things interesting for book club attendees. It says Scoops behind the scenes of the BBC's most shocking interviews. And the cover is quite memorable because this for me conjures up the Emily Maitlis panorama interview with Prince Andrew for one, and actually it's got that typical kind of interviewee kind of one-on-one feel about it. So what's this one about? Sam McAllister is the woman who clinched the 2019 interview with Prince Andrew, described as a plane crashing into an oil tanker, causing a tsunami, triggering a nuclear explosion. She is many things beside. The first in her family to go to university, a trained barrister, a single mum, a master of persuasion. In her former BBC colleagues' words, she was the booker extraordinaire responsible for many of Newsnight's exclusives over the past decade, including Stormy Daniels, Sean Spicer, Bridget Hoss, Steven Seagal, Meg Grieg and Julian Assange. After 12 years producing content for Newsnight, McAllister reflects with candour on her experience, sharing not just the secrets of how the best news gets made, but also the changes to the BBC, the future of mainstream media in the age of clickbait, and the role of power and privilege in shaping our media landscape. This is a backstage pass to the most unforgettable journalism of our times. So I picked this one for me, in my mind, I meant to say, so I picked it for me. The reason that I picked this was because many of those last couple of decades that Sam was working, as it describes, many of us have kind of lived through and have got kind of very kind of specific or memorable kind of points that we can actually pull forward from our minds around those particular high profile people or celebrities in terms of news coverage. For example, we all know where and when we were with much more kind of sinister and dramatic kind of news updates, such as 9/11 when Princess Diana died, but many of these kind of interviews and these kind of exposés, I guess, will resonate with many of you to a certain place, certain time in your life of when they broke. So that's kind of why I picked it, and I think we all have kind of thoughts and comments as we absorb the news, UK news, global news, however you absorb it. I don't follow the news as much as actively as I did. I think the pandemic kind of actively made me think, do I need to be kind of absorbing all of this information as much as I am? And I took a bit of a back seat with that. Also because my job involves communications and the news cycle as well, so that drives my working life. So when I'm at home on weekends, I don't follow the news, I don't watch news bulletins, but anyway, I just thought that this would stir up lots of hopefully collective conversations through the book club, because each chapter is focusing, as the sort of blurb described, different people, different situations, and we've all kind of got our own opinions and viewpoints. So it'd be interesting to hear what other book club guests think about each and every kind of story that Sam is sort of telling in Scoops. So yeah, that is September's pick. We're on to the last 3 of 2025 now. Let me just check that I'm saying it in the right order. No, I would not be if I picked that one next. It's this one. So October is The Gathering by C.J. Tudor. I have been lucky enough to see C.J. Tudor talk live at some author events. I think it was last summer, CJ came to my local Waterstones in Southampton just around the publication of The Gathering. I own a couple of CJ's previous novels. I have so far read, let me see if it's here. Yes, here we go. I have read The Drift, thought it was fantastic. I have recommended it on to my sister and my mum. They have both really, really enjoyed it, rated it really highly. And I also, oh, sorry, that one goes there. Up on the top shelf there, I have The Chalkman, which is one of CJ's earlier published novels. But this is her latest one. I was completely gripped when I heard the plot and CJ talking about this. For one, I almost think that looks like the Catherine. Forgive me, but does it from afar without these? Almost could be the Catherine, couldn't it, for one? So The Gathering, it's obviously got quite a sinister cover. You've got blood dripping there. It says, "Welcome to Dead Heart, Alaska. Population 673 living." So let's dive into what this one is all about. It says, in a small Alaskan town, a boy is found with his throat ripped out and the blood drained from his body. The brutality of the murder chillingly echoes a killing from 25 years ago. Out-of-state detective Barbara is brought in to assist the sheriff Jensen Tucker, I mean, what fab names they are, for one, who investigated the original case. However, the inhabitants of Dead Heart believe they know who is responsible, one of the nearby vampire colony who live in an old mining settlement deep in the mountains. Barbara is under pressure to authorise a cull of the entire colony, but the evidence doesn't stack up. People are lying, and the more Barbara and Tucker delve into Dead Heart's history, the darker the secrets they uncover. As the snow thickens and the nights grow longer, another teenager goes missing and body parts are found. Time is running out for Barbara and Tucker to find the truth. Are they hunting a cold-blooded murderer or a bloodthirsty monster, and which is more dangerous? Now that sounds like the perfect mix of menace, blood, maybe a little bit gore, but this is very dark vampiric tones, as I've just mentioned. So yeah, it says here CJ's hailed as Britain's female Stephen King. What I loved about The Drift, it's completely unique, it's completely original, unlike anything I've ever read. I've got high hopes for The Gathering. So I thought picking this for October would be really fitting for autumn, Halloween, kind of darker nights, colder, chillier weather. Not to scare anyone, hopefully, but please do read this with the lights on if you need to. I may well be doing that. But yeah, that's the October pick. I meant to say that I picked up this copy of The Gathering in, I think it was the British Heart Foundation charity shop. And it was an absolute bargain for for just being £2.99 hardback. Really good condition, so chuffed with that. Anyway, on to November's pick. This is All Us Sinners by Katie Massey. I think I'd heard about this one in some newspaper kind of supplements and previews. And this is set in Leeds, 1977. In a city afraid of its shadow, she refuses to live in fear. This impressive and moving debut crime novel set during the Yorkshire Ripper murders opens up a world we have rarely seen at a time of great danger and drama. I picked this copy up, if my memory serves me right, I picked this copy up when I went to 66 Books Warehouse. I've been there twice now. I'm planning to go again fairly soon, so please do watch out for that on my videos here. But I have heard some really, really kind of powerful impressive things about this debut novel, as I just mentioned. And on the front, it actually says powerful, provocative, beautiful and unforgettable, a chilling, moving, majestic debut. That's by Chris Whitaker. Chris is an author that I have seen speak at Capital Crime last year in 2024. I have one of his books up on the shelf to read, We Begin at the End, because I have heard superb things about his novels as well. So that's just a bit of a side note there. But this obviously isn't going to be an easy read, because you do have obviously the sex worker aspect to it. It says a chill lies over the city. Sex workers are being murdered by a serial killer they are calling the Ripper. The streets are creeping with fear. Tough, sharp but tender Maureen runs Rio's, a clean, discreet brothel in the city. She's a good boss who takes care of her workers, especially her best girls, Bev and Annette. The Ripper may be terrifying girls who work the street, but at Rio's, life seems safer. But when Bev's sweet-natured son is found beaten to death, a figure from Maureen's past, DS Mick Hunniford, shows up at her door. Does his arrival herald danger or salvation? And who can Maureen really trust? So yeah, quite difficult topics and themes probably within this. I think this will provoke quite a bit of chatter and sort of thoughts from book club guests. But I just picked it because I've never read anything fictionally set in this time, in this place. So it's not massively long. I don't know, it must be around 300 pages, yeah. But if that kind of interests you, if that's the word, then that is our November pick. For December, it's a much more cheerier read, as you might hope, because some of those titles I've picked through the year aren't going to be the easiest of reads. But anyway, on to the snowy kind of landscapes and backdrops of Christmas time in December. I've picked The Christmas Bookshop by Jenny Colgan. I'm really hoping that this is a really light-hearted, warming, easy read for December, because I know many of us, it's a time of socialising, out and about with friends, families, maybe colleagues if you get on with them. But hopefully this will be quite a fun one. And for the December book club, I'm actually going to host it, I think, on slightly different weekend day in December. I think it's Sunday the 28th of December. But again, please follow my my Facebook page for the book club, so you can sort of stay up to date of exact timings and joining links as well. But what's this one about? It says, in snowy, bustling Edinburgh. I used to work there, love Edinburgh. A tired old bookshop needs sprucing up for Christmas. Carmen does not like accepting help, least of all from her perfect in every way older sister Sophia. But Carmen needs a job fast, and Sophia happens to know where she can find one. Mr. Macready's shop is in trouble. Dusty bookshelves are in disarray, and the old bell above the door hardly ever announces a new customer. If Mr. Macready doesn't turn things around by Christmas, he will be forced to sell. Carmen is his last hope. Everyone is convinced it would take a miracle to save Macready's bookshop. Even Carmen, distracted by a rather handsome visitor, doesn't believe she can save the day. But it is possible that this Christmas, Carmen might surprise everyone, including herself. So that sounds like a little bit of turmoil. Don't want the bookshop to close, do we? Mr. Macready sounds like it is dusty and enchanting and very charming, and should be part of everyone's neighbourhood and community. But it sounds like there's a splash of romance as well. So yeah, really hoping this is a fun one for December. But yeah, there you go. That is all 12 of my 2025 book club picks. I hope from chatting through those book club picks that some of them really jump out at you and you go, oh, I really would like to read that, or it's on my TBR already, or it's something completely out of your kind of genre comfort zone and something that you probably wouldn't have picked up necessarily, but something has intrigued you about it. Like I said with the book club, We meet once a month online. Everyone is welcome. Please do not feel pressure. If you haven't finished the book, there's going to be no tests as such. It's going to be a really nice, warm chat online together in the comfort of your own home. So yeah, I'd love to see lots of you join me. As I said, the first book club is Saturday 25th. That is the Riley Sager pick. So yeah, I would love to see you there. But until then, I hope that all of you are doing okay, that you're staying warm if you're in the northern hemisphere of the world. If you're in the southern hemisphere, you're in the nice warm sunshine, aren't you? So yeah, I hope that you've got some nice time set aside to read a few pages or a few chapters of your current reads. But yeah, I really do appreciate you watching this far. Let me have a think about an emoji that you can actually leave me to know that you're out there. And perhaps leave in the comments, out of these 12 titles, which you are most looking forward to reading. Okay, I've had a think about an emoji. Don't know why I don't think of this before. I think because all these books are so varied, but there are 2 that are food themed. Let's say, why don't you leave me a chocolate or sweet emoji to let me know that you've kind of got this far. Yeah, and even if you want, write down, like leave in the comments your favorite kind of snacks or food from your childhood, or even in current times as a big old grown-up adult. But anyway, I shall sign off here. Thanks again for watching, and I shall see you next time. Bye.